Welcome back, guys, to another episode here on the NASCAR Gambling Network. My name is Josh Neal. You can follow me on Twitter at Burnout Avenue. Got a little bit different setup this week. Had to move last week, so there was no video for that that race stuff last week. So just moving back in. We have Phoenix this week. This is a very good track for me statistically. Back in terms of DFS and gambling as well over the years. A lot of the times, you get to that last race of the year, and you can pretty much pinpoint who's going to be strong and who's not going to be strong. This year's a little bit different. We have such a variable with these new cars and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting. But today, I'm just going to go over the odds, look at some matchups in both series. Try to fish out some bets. That's been a good year betting wise. DFS, man, I just can't catch a break. So if there's a caution, man, my drivers are done. So with that being said, I'm not going to blabber too much on about my DFS season. I know a lot of you guys I've seen on Twitter are doing really well, but congratulations. I haven't been as fortunate. But to start out, so they're at Phoenix this week. Phoenix, Arizona. It's a mile track. It's flat. You see a lot of the road course guys do well here. No AJ Allmendingers and Cup. But just to dive in here, we'll go to DraftKings and we'll peek at salaries here for NASCAR. We'll do both. I like to do betting and DFS, but just to talk about some drivers, we'll go through here. So with that being said, starting out, no surprise, Kyle Larson up here at 11.8. I mean, it is what it is. At this point, Kyle Larson is the cream of the crop. Probably could have won 2 races in a row. Alex Bowman beat him. He kind of chose the wrong line because Alex Bowman's car worked really well on the bottom. And given your opponent their preferred line is by no means the strong way to go, but they kind of got lucky because Toyota was a class to field last week. Let's be honest. Kyle Busch had a backup car from Denny Hanlon. The team worked on it all day Saturday, and they got it in racing shape. And Kyle Busch drove the wheels off of it, like for a better term. So, just looking, Kyle Busch 11.2. I think he's probably a little bit overpriced if we're being honest. I've got the Cup practice results from here, test results from Phoenix earlier this year. And as you can see, no surprise here, this was testing. This was back in January, but Kyle Larson topped the charts. Tyler Reddick, those two guys have been really, really fast all year long. This was the first practice or first test session. You see Logano there, Blaney, Stenhouse. Just some guys, we've seen so far this year be able to adapt to that new car. And going over here to the second session, you can see here Ryan Blaney top disc, Logano there again. Larson still top 10, but by no means it was quick. But you see some of the same names here. Chase Briscoe, just guys that have took off with this car and really impressed me up to this point. We'll go back here. I'm looking at salaries. I think Kyle Busch is probably a little bit overpriced here. We've seen Toyota, the class of the field, but that was a 1.5-mile bank track. This is a mile short track, flat. I don't think you can correlate that stuff week to week. I just don't think that's going to be a smart strategy. We're going to have a 15-minute practice session, 20-minute practice session, and I think what you're going to see is probably Chevrolets or Fords are probably going to be the top of the field here in practice and stuff. So I'm low on Toyotas again. I was low last week. That kind of bit me in the butt. But if we're being honest here, Toyotas, they shouldn't be the top after 1 week. It's a week-to-week thing here because, if we judge every track the same, we're just going to have a recency bias. So, in my eyes, Kyle Busch is overpriced. I think it is what it is. It's just not worth paying 11.2 for Kyle Busch this week unless he is the cream of the field. It is what it is. Chase Elliott, historically very strong here. Kyle Larson, fast here. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, they're going to be up there. I expect them two to be two of the top five. Depending on what Ford looks like. I think it's going to be Chevrolet versus Ford this week. So, 10.7 seems fair. Probably a little bit higher than what I would like to pay. But you got to remember, Chase Elliott has shown speed this year. He was probably the fastest car at California, if he didn't run into the wall. A lot of people forget that. So, if you're going to judge Toyota like that, you got to judge Chevrolet, you got to judge Ford. I mean, listen, you got to take it a week-by-week basis. I'll keep preaching on that as I go on, but, you got to look at some guys that have historically been good here, and shown speed this year. So, Joey Logano's probably going to be, before practice, he's probably one of my betting favorites. For me, a DFS play, I would think, before I see practice, he's good here, I don't really know what else to say about it. If you look at Joey Logano, and I got this pulled up here, Phoenix. So the last 4 Phoenix races, you got to take into account that this also shows the championship races. The championship races, you don't want to put too much stock in, if we're being honest, because what happens is if you put a lot of stock into the championship races, you're probably going to have skewed results in DFS and gambling, because everybody knows the last race of the year, the top 4 teams usually finish top 4. It just is what it is. But if you look here, he was second. He led 143 laps last spring. Look at 2020. He obviously led 125, led 60. And I think he really struggled last year with that 750 package. Penske just was so hard to figure out. Ryan Blaney was probably the class of Penske most of the year last year. But if you're taking into account how good someone is here, Joey Logano tops the list for me. He just is such a strong guy at flat tracks, and he's pretty damn good at road courses. If you look into it as well, it's probably not going to show up here in recent results, but the guy just does well at flat mile tracks. He does well at flat short tracks. He does well at short tracks, period. Joey Logano is going to be up there, and honestly, he's probably one of my favorite plays heading into the weekend. Denny Hanlon arguably had the best car last week. He missed a shift, or he shifted up when he should have shifted down, or shifted down when he should have shifted up. I'm not really sure. But it was his fault. He had the fast car. We all know what Toyotas were. It's kind of a wait-and-see approach with him. I really don't have an opinion on it. Martin Truex. Now, Martin Truex is really good at short tracks. He's really good at flat tracks. He pops up here on me. 9.8 is a really damn good price for Martin Truex this week. And we'll touch base on him and bets here shortly. Ryan Blaney. So, again, last test session, tops the chart. He was top 10 in the other one. But I'm telling you, man, these Team Penske Fords, I guarantee you that they're going to be up there. If Blaney's pit crew can do well, if Joey Logano can, hit the right setup, which everybody has been here. Everybody has seen this track before with this new car. So nothing should come to a surprise for these guys. But Logano, Blaney, I really like this week. And you got to remember Austin Cindric too, man. He's a really good road courser. He's going to be good at flat tracks. Don't forget Austin Cindric. William Byron, look, I keep on keeping on about William Byron because he is so fast, but he's not a Phoenix guy. He's not a flat track, short track. He's not a flat track 1 mile guy. He's just not. If I was playing DFS right now, I probably wouldn't play William Byron. He's 9.4. He's gonna have speed, but I like Chase Elliott. I like Kyle Larson a whole lot better. I'm gonna like Kevin Harvick a lot more. 9.1, if we're being honest. We know Kevin Harvick. Let's just go into the Kevin Harvick here. The dude, he doesn't have you look at the results he's had this year, it just doesn't look great by any means. But if you don't take into account last year, this dude just flew. I mean, he flew at Phoenix. This used to be Harvick's playground. In the spring, he didn't do so well in the fall, but in the spring, this used to be Kevin Harvick's playground. He showed some speed. Excuse me. He showed some speed last week. Just gotta hope Rodney Childers comes, with a good setup, and hopefully they hit, because 9.1 for a guy that used to own this place is a really good price. Taking a look there, he was 5th in that second test session, 9th. So odds are he's probably going to be a top 10 car. And he's probably a little bit underpriced if we're looking at it based on history and speed. It's just something to keep an eye on. But Kevin Harvick at 9.1 looks like a very strong play. Gambling, DFS, you name it. Alex Bowman coming off a win last week. I think he's a little bit overpriced. I really do think he's an 8.8 kind of guy. I said overpriced, but he's 8.7. Anyway, I think this is a fair price for Hendrick. If he gets any higher than this, he's going to be unplayable, unbettable. So I would expect him to stick in this territory. Kurt Busch, 8.9. That's probably a little too much for that 23-11 team. They've not been good by any means. They have shown zero speed. Bubba Wallace has been terrible. Kurt Busch has been terrible. They have not done anything to impress me. We look here. Yeah, 12th, 5th. I don't see it happening. I don't see it in the cards. I think this is way too high. Way too high. I mean, if he was in the one car, still potentially, but no. Reddick, look, I mean, if the guy can, get his legs situated. I mean, he said both of his legs were numb this past week. I feel really bad for the guy. He probably had the second best car behind Chase Elliott in California, and he was just dominating. Blows a tire. I think he ran over something on the front stretch and blew a tire, and his day was done after that. It's really depressing, but he's been fast. He's been a top 10 car. I mean, and these test sessions, man, you got to look. I mean, he's probably going to be there. He's probably going to be top 10 again. And that at this price, you kind of hope, he qualifies terrible because he's a hammer play. But the guy just doesn't, when he's doing a hot lap, if you give a couple of guys one lap, he's going to be in my top 5. He will run the wheels off of it on a short run. He just does it every race. So Tyler Reddick at 8.5 should probably be 9,000 if we're being honest. But, Vegas is still underrating him and underrating that Chevy horsepower. Christopher Bell, man, get this guy off mine. Get him off. 8.3. I'm not going to fucking touch this guy. I mean, he wrecks. Has anyone ever spun more than Christopher Bell by himself? I mean, even when he doesn't spin by himself, he's always in trouble. I would love to see how many total wrecks, he's been in his career. People call Ricky Stenhouse wrecky. Man, Christopher Bell, man, he's easily probably wrecked the most of any of these top-tier guys, top-tier equipment guys. I mean, it's unreal. It's every time I play Christopher Bell in DFS, he just wrecks. When he's not owned, he shows up like last week, leads a couple, gets a top 10. I'm not playing this guy. He's a joke. Keselowski, 8.2, man. They're still overpricing this guy. I mean, this team's a 12th to 16th place team. Get a couple of wrecks, he's a top 10 car, but he's not there. Ross Chastain, man, this guy, look, I mean, he dominated that race last week. I mean, he dominated it. I mean, if we had shorter runs, there was a good chance he would still be in the lead. But, I mean, this guy has it figured out with this new car. 8.1, it's kind of getting in some awkward territory for Ross Chastain because I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I love the price. If you're getting Ross Chastain at 7.2, I like Ross Chastain at 7.2. Do I like Ross Chastain at 8.1? It's borderline. I think that's a very fair price. And you see, there's no sense in Reddick being 8.5 and Chastain being 8.1. Reddick should be a whole 1K more expensive, if we're being honest. Eric Almirola, man, this guy, he just stays out of trouble. Steady Eddie, man. 5th, 6th, 6th. If we're looking at Phoenix, this guy, I mean, he's going to be flirting. The proof's in the pudding. He finished 6th last in the fall. I wouldn't have expected that. He finished 11th, 13th, 8th. Got that 22, 4th. Eric Almirola was also the guy that hunted him down at New Hampshire and won. So the mile short tracks that are flat, Eric Almirola. This is probably outside of Daytona and Talladega, and this year Atlanta. Phoenix and New Hampshire are the tracks you want to get Eric Almirola at. So be very, very cautious of him this week because he's been on such a roll. He could be due for some shit luck if we're being honest. But this is the kind of track, this is Eric Almirola's forte. Cindric I've already talked about. Austin Dillon 7.6. He's just there, man. He's just an average talent. Above average car. If he hits, he hits. He's not going to do anything flashy. He's not going to tear the equipment up. He's not going to outdrive the equipment by any means. He's going to drive the equipment to an average result. I mean, if we're being honest. Eric Jones showing a lot of speed, just tons of speed for Eric Jones. I don't know what happened. He overcorrected into the wall last week, but yeah, I mean, this petty GMS team outside of Ty Dillon, I mean, the 43 team is hammered in. I personally, I'm going to have to get the results here and see how Eric Jones does in Phoenix. I can't necessarily think off the top of my head. Wow. Wowzers. Okay, so, yeah. I don't know if that is just running into trouble or what, but that's not what you want to see from Eric Jones. So, like I said, we're not going to put too much stock into that. The 43 car last year was trash, and the 20 performances obviously scare me, but I mean he's been a hot rod this year, so I don't see that changing. AJ Allmendinger here in the 16, I think it'll be colleague car. This is probably one of his better tracks while he was a Cup racer for JTG and Petty over the years. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a wait and see approach, but he did show some speed at the LA Coliseum, and the LA Coliseum was a half mile. Was it even a half? I don't think it was even a half a mile. Short track. So pay attention to him. If he shows some good stuff in practice, then obviously you probably want to hit on him. Stenhouse has shown speed at parts. He wasn't as fast this past week as he had been. Busch-Light Coliseum finished 13th. Briscoe, this is a guy that I really like. He wadded the car up this past week. He finished 16th, but he led laps at California. Saw it at Daytona. I don't put too much stock in that 22nd. He ran better than that. But if you look at this, man, third, where's he at? 13. He's shown speed here in these test sessions. I really like Chase Briscoe. 6.9 seems like a nice price. Chris Buescher 6.7. Nah. Suarez 6.6. You got to take a look at him. Bubba trash 6.4. I wouldn't play him. Cole Custer 6.2. I just don't understand it. I mean, I was heavy on him last week. Didn't get the best of luck with him, but it is what it is. Justin Haley, 6K. I mean, all these guys right here. Haley at 6K is a whole lot better of a play than Ty Dillon at 5.9. Harrison Burton is 5.7. I don't understand that at all, man. I don't understand that at all. He might be the top value play. If he qualifies, 28th, you got to consider hammering it. And I'm sure it'll be chalk, but the Wood Brothers car and Penske, I think Penske's going to be the class of the field this week. But I don't see how he doesn't come in the top 20. So, really good price on Harrison Burton. Everybody else, Michael McDowell at 5.1. That is kind of ridiculous if we're being honest. Michael McDowell and Todd Gillan, just the disrespect, man. Michael McDowell is a flat track guy. He is one of those guys that he runs really well at road courses. I think at 5.1 and 4.9, those are the plays. Cody Ware at 4.5 again. And here's the thing with these guys. 4.5 to 4.9, to be honest with you, we've had so many people spin out and getting wrecks. If these guys qualify 35th, they're going to move up to like 29th. All these guys right here, it's kind of crazy to me that they're so underpriced. You'd think they would bump them up, but Cody Ware 4.5, and if we're being honest, he showed speed at the LA Coliseum, and he's probably the best. He's probably the best scrub now with SHR Alliance. He's not too much. He's not too much far behind these other two. So, look, I'm a big believer in adding scrubs this year until these guys figure out how to drive the car, and we're on a flat surface, short track. I expect there to be carnage. These guys are going to be in play this week. Don't get scared of these guys. They suck, if we're being honest, but they're really good plays in terms of gambling and DFS. So, just talking about those guys, let's move on to Xfinity. Man, I don't know why it logged me out, but we'll log back in. My bad. We're just trying to look at salaries here. We're not trying to fucking hack the system. Yeah, so, we'll go to Xfinity. Xfinity is probably my favorite series outside the trucks. Cup's just not been my thing lately. Not had any luck. But if we move here, Allgaier. Justin Allgaier is the guy at Phoenix. Now that you got Austin Cindric on, now that hopefully these Cup guys aren't there, now that Daniel Hemrick's a colleague, you're going to have Brandon Jones, Trevor Bayne. Did them guys scare you? No, they do not scare you. So look, Allgaier's probably priced accurately. Don't know why Graxon's ahead of Ty Gibbs, if we're being honest. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is Phoenix, and as you can see, the proof is in the pudding. These are the guys that, let's just sort it by top fives. Riley Herbst. That's kind of surprising. I don't know. Oh, shoot, this isn't Phoenix. This is short tracks. Okay. This is the mile and less. So the short track guys, Allgaier pops up there. There's nothing, you can't really argue. You really can't argue Justin Allgaier being the top price. Riley Herbst, he's popping. So, and you go down here at 8K, Riley Herbst, not going to be a terrible option this week. And Riley Herbst, to be honest with you, scares me. I think he scares everybody when it comes to rostering him in DFS because he's either going to get in trouble or he's going to smash value. There's not really an in between with the guy. But Daniel Hemrick, he's in different equipment. I don't know. I'll have to look at practice and see. Noah Gragson, look, when it comes to short tracks, you either have the speed or you don't in Xfinity. And just looking, Allmendinger, let's look and see what he did at Phoenix because I'm kind of interested to see. So let's look at last spring's race at Phoenix in the Xfinity Series. You had Ty Gibbs, but if you look at it, Henrik led laps in 18. Justin Allgaier led 32 laps, but it was basically Austin-centric. So if we're looking at this, it means Justin Allgaier is probably going to be the class of the field, and he's priced like he should. These other guys, you can play them. The JRM cars are just fast. Let's just call it what it is. Trevor Bayne, the 18 is going to be fast. The question is, is he going to be... A short track's a little bit different to drive than a 1.5 mile track, a 2 mile track. Is he going to be able to do it? We'll see in practice. John Hunter Nemechek, driving the 26. Solid option. He's going to have speed, but probably too high. He's probably too high priced to finish top 5. I just don't see it. He's probably going to be a top 10 car. You're really just looking for an Xfinity. You're just looking for people who just have a terrible lap in qualifying. Just some quick hitters here. Landon Castle. I don't know why he's 8.9. I think he should probably be closer to 8K. Brandon Jones. This is probably a real good track for Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones pops at certain tracks, and Phoenix is one of them. I can't explain why. So you got to be on the lookout for Brandon Jones. Sam Mayer, Watts cars up. Sheldon Creed, not really shown. Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, man, they're probably priced how they should be. They're not really showing much speed in the RCR camp and Xfinity. Their Cup programs went up. Their Xfinity program, they added 2 cars. They had 1 car last year. Kind of a disappointment because I thought Creed and Hill could compete for the championship. Hill's going to compete for it, but Creed's still got to get in there. But with the Xfinity Series being that week, he's probably going to make it in on points. This is kind of a shocking salary. Mike Snyder has been absolutely trash. If you look at his practice times, he's probably worse than he's probably not a top 20 car, if we're being honest. And here he is sitting at what is that, like the 12th, 13th, 14th place driver? It just doesn't make sense. He's really got to qualify 30th. And just smash value at like 12th or 11th, and I don't see that at all from him. So that's a trash price for him. When we just shown you Riley Herbst is probably going to finish top 5, top 6. Alfredo, Burton, Moffitt. Moffitt's showed the most speed this year from these guys. Alfredo got lucky, he had an extra set of tires at California. But outside of that, these guys have been around 15th, 16th in speed. Don't really like any of them unless, Alfredo's probably going to qualify like 24th. But then again, you're in a short track, you got to judge the braking zones, so some of these guys might be better, but just based off speed this year, these guys are not the answer. Brandon Brown, at 7.2, I feel like that's a very fair price for Brandon Brown. He's starting to pick up some more sponsors here lately. Most of them crypto. I think he just got an energy drink sponsor just this week. So good to see him get some money flowing into his business accounts over there. Brandon Built Motorsports. Ryan Sieg, 7K. Look, I was all over Ryan Sieg this past week. Ty Gibbs wadded him up. You heard Blaney, you heard Logano talk about it. You can't put that much of a bubble of air underneath the guy. You got to back off. Ty Gibbs did not back off. He just kept going, wrecked him. And for a lack, Ryan Sieg. This is how crazy it is. Ryan Sieg and Kyle Sieg. Kyle Sieg is not a good race car driver. He's just not. They're bringing really fast backup cars for this team. Not backup cars, but secondary cars for that team, whole team in general. 6.7K to 7. That's how much this guy's been disrespected. 37th, 10th, 8th, and he's at 7K. He's usually around 7.5, 7.7. He's going to be interesting. He's not going to want to wad up another car. He's a guy you're going to have to keep an eye on for sure. Jeremy Clements, really good road course racer. He's probably going to be stout. Just depends on where he qualifies. Kaz Gralla and Ryan Ellis, the Tommy Joe cars, man, they're outperforming. They look like garbage in practice, if I'm being honest, but they find something during the race. They find adjustments, and what that tells me is Kaz Gralla is really good at evaluating his car. He's really good at making those adjustments. He's really good at identifying what needs to be done to the car. And, Kaz Gralla is not... I don't know why he can't get a decent ride. But he is a really good race car driver. And his 6.4, if he qualifies 26th, I'm probably going to be overweight on him, if we're being honest. So, moving on down, Jeffrey Earnhardt. He's probably... Man, he's in a 35. I don't know if that is right. We'll have to see about that. Make sure that is not misinformation. But depending on the car, Jeffrey Earnhardt might be a good option. If he's in the 35 car, I'm not too sure I want any part of that. Alex LeBay tends to be a good road course racer. Not showing much speed this year, if we're being honest. 15th after, a demolition derby the past couple of weeks. Is what it is. Bailey Curry, he got wadded up on the last lap last week. He was top. He hung around 20th place all day. So they're going to have speed. Josh Williams, man, he did not make the race last week. He's in that 78 car for BJ McLeod. Feel sorry for the guy because I really do think he's a talent. He just can't get the right fit. Nick Sanchez making his debut. I think he's been in the ARCA series lately. One of the worst drivers in the series, Joe Graff Jr. I don't know what to say about the guy. He's in the right because he knows people. He knows the right people. It is what it is. Ryan Vargas, not the best driver. He is probably trash. Jade Buford at 5.3. He just can't finish a race. But man, this guy has speed. He's had top 16, 17 speed. So if Jade Buford would just have a terrible qualifying spot, I may hammer him. But he is a road course driver, and at 5.3, if he can hold his, if he starts 17th, if he can hold like 16th, 15th, odds are he might smash value. So Jade Buford is probably a really good play. Stephen Parsons, I had a lot of him. He got wadded up. But yeah, the rest of these guys are going to be in trash cars. So that is the Xfinity Series. I'm not going to ramble on too much more about it. But now we must look into some matchups. This is my favorite part. Let's see. Let's look at some Xfinity matchups. Those are... I don't know if I like anything there. Potentially may take a shot at Sam Mayer over Trevor Bayne. Just because, Trevor Bayne's not been a regular. I don't know if he should be that big of a favorite over a JRM car, but Sam Mayer's so volatile. I would assume that is exactly what Vegas sees. Um, Jeb Burton over Brandon Brown. That's kind of interesting because Brandon Brown to this point has shown way more speed than Jeb Burton has this year. Might be worth looking at, if the price is still right after practice. Noah Gragson over Trevor Bayne. That right there tells you it all. I mean, that right there. So, nothing really good to point out here, to be honest with you. Vegas can't identify a clear winner. I like Justin Allgaier plus 500. I think he's probably going to move to plus 400 if he shows speed and qualifies well, because I can see him leading a lot of this race. So that would be my bet right now. It'd be Justin Allgaier to win. Let's see if he's got any matchups. I don't think he had matchups. Yeah. So that would be where I would go if you're looking for a pre-race, pre-practice, pre-weekend bet. Moving down to the Cup Series. No shocker, as we've seen in prices. But if you're comparing prices to odds, Martin Truex at plus 750, and you're getting him at 9.8, I think, on the fantasy side. Just something worth noting if you look into odds in your process of fantasy. You got to know stuff like that. Ryan Blaney over William Byron, I would agree there. Briscoe, I would lean Briscoe over Kurt Busch. No lean there. I would lean Logano, but then again, Truex is really good. Truex and Logano are always there on short tracks. Bowman, Almirola, I would lean Almirola. I know that's crazy saying that over last week's winner, but you got to flush all that out of your brain. Almirola, like I told you guys earlier, is a mile short track, flat short track guy. He's gonna be there. There's just nothing else here I like. But being honest, featured matchups. Bell, I'm not a Bell fan. I'm not a Bowman fan. Skip. Almirola, Chastain. Now that is, for guys that are probably going to hang around top 13, 14, and Almirola's boosted that much, Vegas probably thinks that Almirola is going to be a top 10 car. That's what that tells me, because Ross Chastain has brought hot rods, but you're seeing minus 175 against a guy that's done nothing but show speed every week. Just he's been wadded up other times than not, but it's very interesting to see Almirola's odds that juiced. And Kevin Harvick over Keselowski, minus 155, I think that should hit. I don't like paying minus 155 for odds, NASCAR, but if you're going to do something like, let's do a minus 155 parlay here, and get a couple of these, sorry, your picks can't be parlayed, whatever. They can't be parlayed. You just have to wait till Sunday. But, there's really nothing I like. Last week I hit on Larson in Group A. This week, just looking at it, looking for Almirola. Can't find him on anything. I do like the Reddick plus 260 in this group. I think he will probably be better than all those guys. Group D, man, that's going to be tough. It's probably going to be Cindric or Briscoe. I'm not going to put money on that. That top group, probably Logano. I like the most. But then again, you got to look at practice. I really do like Joey Logano this week. And if you're looking at race lines, you can get Joey Logano right now for plus 900. I see no reason why he can't beat any of these guys. I think Joe Gibbs is getting juiced just because they did really well last week. So that's That's my take on that stuff. But with that being said, guys, that will wrap it up for this preview, this gambling and DFS preview. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The new setup I'm kind of getting used to. This is my gaming computer. Do all my lineups, all that jazz on here. So, with that being said, if you're not already, follow me on Twitter at Burnout Avenue. I do track my bets. I do place bets on Twitter. Last week I gave out Kyle Larson plus 190 Group A winner. He won that. It was kind of a pain at times, but he was way better than Chase Elliott, Logano, and I think Truex. The Truex one was a tough one. I think that's who he had to beat. But it's Kyle Larson, and you're getting him at plus 190 when he's plus 400 to win a race. I usually, look over matchups on Sunday mornings. There's always something that these sports books are not able to identify based on practice. If you look at practice data, you can really find some edges. And I hit a really good parlay this past week. I did not give it out on Twitter. But if you really break down practice and the times, some of these sports books, they will not identify that. They will just forget to, reset their odds. And I killed a win bet, at the first race of the year at LA Coliseum. They were offering Reddick. They were offering, crazy odds on people. And then Reddick against Keselowski at Fontana, that shouldn't have been close, but it ended up being close because Reddick blew something over. So just really analyzing lap times and practice data can go a long way, but with this car, nothing is safe, that's for sure. So, with that being said, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me at Burnout Avenue. If you got any questions, want advice, just hit me up on Twitter, man. I will respond. I love interacting with guys on Twitter. The NASCAR gambling community is starting to increase. Love to see new guys in that community. A lot of great minds in this industry. But with that being said, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good night.